Hey guys, welcome back. In the last video we finished lapping the valves and redoing the cylinder head and installing a new head gasket. And in this video I think I want to finish cleaning up some of the rest of the tins, get the cylinder head cover back on, the exhaust, all that kind of thing. You get the idea. I have some high temp red paint. Let's see what it looks like. All right. We'll let that tack up and I'll give it a second coat, maybe a third. I'll do the same thing with the pull start, the engine tin. Here's the engine cover. It actually looks pretty good. I am pretty pleased with it. And here is our valve cover. It's dry to the touch. I probably can install it, and I think we will. It's definitely not cured yet, but looks pretty good. Nice and red. Painting your valve covers red adds what? A whole horsepower? I'm gonna try and gingerly install this valve cover since the paint is still curing. I don't want to manhandle it too hard. I have a new gasket here, 691890, that we will install with this, and I'm gonna go pick out my 4 bolts and we will get to installing this. Alright, looks like it goes on like this. Like that. Alright, I don't want to over tighten them. I have a feeling that if you over tighten it, it can cause some warpage in the head cover and cause it to leak. So I'm gonna leave it like that. That's pretty tight. And yeah, let's go on to something else. And there's a plate here that screws onto the bottom of the engine right here, and I think it comes up. I think that's where these tabs engage with the engine cover tin and kind of hold it in place. So it actually screws down here. I painted this. So again, I'm going to be very careful since it's not cured yet. Be very ginger about this. And install this screw. I say we replace this ignition coil because the end is kind of chewed up. Not that we couldn't fix that, but I have the other one from the other engine. So I think it's just easier to pull it off and replace it. I'm going to figure out where the magnets are. Right there. Good. Alright, so I can pull this thing off the magnets. I will stick a... Here it is. Piece of cardboard in. The armature air gap for this engine is 0.006 to 0.014, so that's a pretty big margin, and it shouldn't be very hard to hit that. So I got the business card in there, and I'm just going to tighten this down. and then we'll check it with the feeler gauge. Alright, let's slide this business card out. And let's start with the biggest air gap allowed, 0.014. Here is 0.014. That kind of fits. It's very tight, so I think it is right around 0.014. Want to maybe try and go a little bit tighter? I have a thinner piece of cardboard in there, and I'm going to line it back up with the magnets and loosen the bolts and let it pull itself to the flywheel, and tighten the bolts back up and see where we are. Got that one in. Let's see where we are. That's a fair bit thinner, so let's start at the low end this time, 0.006. Here's 0.006, and that goes through. Here's 007. That's tighter, but it still goes through. Here's 008. Again, pretty tight, more so on this side. So it turns out that it's about 0.009 on this side and 0.010 on this side, which is perfectly fine. So we're going to leave it at that. That is right inside the spec, so that's perfect. Let's see, what else? Well, at some point I want to put an electric start on this motor, and I have the engine brake assembly and the kill wire assembly that goes to an electric start, and it has a micro switch on it. So if the hand bail is not pulled back, the starter is disabled, so you can't engage the starter motor with the engine brake engaged to the flywheel. So we will need that if we're going to do electric start. So I say we get this old crusty engine brake, engine kill assembly off of here and put that new one on from that goes to an electric start. Get this wire out of here. It's on a spring, so you depress the spring and pull the wire out. It's funny, I'm basically rebuilding this engine from the ground up. I have replaced and will probably end up replacing just about every component on this thing. It occurred to me that I should have pulled the crankshaft and rotating assembly out of this engine and put it in the engine with the bent crank, because that engine, overall, all the parts and everything were in better condition than this engine. I ended up doing the opposite, keeping this short block, and I'm basically swapping over all the components from other engines onto this one. Don't know what would have been easier. Let's see, do you want to put the starter motor on? Guess we can do that. To do that, we basically take this dummy plate off, and we are going to put the starter there in its place. Alright, here's the starter motor. And that bolts on just like that. And this gear comes up and engages the flywheel there. Good. This is from a completely different motor, but it looks like it is going to work. I did check the manual, and it does look like that this engine, that most Briggs engines use the same starter. Okay. Clearly this engine did have this starter motor design in the design, because there's this tab here accommodates the starter motor, so it is definitely the right motor. I got the muffler back on. This is the best muffler I have. It had some oil in it, so this thing is going to probably smoke like a freight train when I first started up, but that's okay. At least we know. And with that, guys, I think I'm going to call this video here. I'd like to thank you for joining me, and if you like these videos, be sure to like and subscribe. Click that subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner there, and I will see you on the next video.